Hello everyone. We are here today with Brigadier Sanjeev Devasthali, and he has retired from the Indian Army 2 years ago. Currently, he is working in the public sector undertaking. And sir, we just wanted to ask you a few questions about investing. And so let's start with, sir, can you tell us a little bit about your investment journey so far?
Yeah, sure. First of all, thank you very much for having me over on this function. My investment journey, I can divide into two. One is while serving and post-retirement.
Right, sir.
So while serving, much earlier when I was a very young officer, so that time it was mainly to do with fixed deposits in the banks. Then as one grew up in service and these platforms, online platforms started like share trading platforms, etc. And even the banking accounts also enabled you for investing in various portfolios. So that was a time when I migrated to some sort of a share market trading, some mutual funds and fixed deposits. So this was as one retired with a large corpus available post-retirement, and one has wisely invested earlier. So this chunk of large corpus, if I may say, that I realized that to invest on my own was slightly tough, and then I went on to certain other financial companies. Like I went to the bank platforms also, where they manage a portfolio, and I also went to something like asset banking, where they are very professional body, which they also manage my portfolio. So now investment journey from those fixed deposits now has gone into,
So it's matured over the years.
Yeah, and professionally managed now.
Okay. So my next question would be that being an army officer, you have managed the budget of your units, which is a large amount of corpus that you were in charge of. So, I mean, you can manage your own portfolio as well. So, what services is assets banking providing that you decided to shift your investment to them?
Okay, understood. So, firstly, talking about the budgets, handling of budgets in the armed forces, I would say the goals are different, the modus operandi is different.
Okay.
And the purpose is different. So if that is the case, so using that template for personal investments, I thought there may be a dichotomy in that. That is the first thing. And now coming back to the second part of your question is what services I get by asset banking or for any other professionally managed financial body for that matter, is the corpus, which especially I mentioned earlier, especially the retirement corpus. Because most of us, while in service, we tend to neglect our own personal finances. You ask any service officer, he will say the same thing, by and large. But retirement corpus, when it comes, you have to be very careful about it. It cannot be based on your own personal thought process, because there are so plethora of instruments in the market for investments, whether it is mutual funds, shares, FDs, or various other instruments. So the question is, one has to have a professional outlook, professional manner in which you handle the funds. So as far as assets banking, since they saw all my investment pattern, what my goals were, and what my requirement would be, then post-retirement, whether there is any other income other than the pension. So all that was factored, and it was, I think, a deliberate process of more than a month that I decided, okay, I will go with the asset banking. Asset banking actually factored in the behavior of the market, my personal requirement, my goals, and the money which is available. And then all this, they managed in such a manner that today, 2.5 years down the line, the portfolio is doing very well. So from asset banking, I have got all this dynamic allocation. They have understood my goals. They have factored in what I have as a corpus, and they have factored in the market directions.
So there are many officers who are directly going to the bank, like SBI, HDFC, and they're purchasing their mutual funds in a direct mode. Whereas you're using the services of a wealth management company like assets banking. So they're selling you mutual funds in the regular mode. So what is the reason behind that?
So firstly, I have been investing in the direct mode also. I've been
Okay.
going to the fund houses and investing in direct mode also.
Okay.
And of course, I've been investing in the regular fund also, to the regular mode also. And it is not that officers who are going to the banks or any banks are giving in direct mode.
Okay.
All the banks are also investing to the regular mode only.
Okay.
So it is only when you are going directly to the mutual fund house is, in my opinion, it's a direct mode, and there's a differential of around 0.5% between the investing in the direct mode and investing through the regular mode.
Right.
But what I experienced over a period of time is that there's something known as alpha strategies, which the asset banking companies use. This alpha strategies that not only takes care of the 0.5% differential of the regular and the direct mode, but in fact what I have experienced is the returns have been much more than that differential. In fact 2 to 3% or so higher than the direct mode. So that is firstly the reason why I have gone for mutual fund investment, as one of the reasons why I have gone through the asset banking. So that is one part. The second part also is that even if I invest in the regular mode through the banks, now this is again my experience. Most of the customers of the bank, especially the senior retired army officers, they are the high net worth individuals customers for the banks. They are treated in that manner.
Right.
So for a high net worth individual customer, or the wealth customer as some banks call it, they give you a relationship manager or an investment advisor as a part of that package. Now they are the ones who are supposed to advise you on which all mutual funds or where all you are supposed to invest with the bank. My experience has been that these relationship managers and the investment advisors, they do have their own targets also.
Right.
That they have to invest in so and so mutual fund because of whatever targets their management would have decided. So their advice to me is always you have to take it with a pinch of salt, because it is likely to be loaded based on their internal targets.
Correct.
Whereas the experience with the asset banking is that they don't have targets like this. They are not glued to a particular mutual fund house. So whatever advice I am going to get through these sort of companies, the financial management companies or the asset banking in this particular case, their advice is going to be neutral and totally focused towards my goal.
So you had mentioned alpha generation. So could you expand on that?
Okay, alpha strategy. In fact, this I learned from asset banking only. The alpha strategies generate maximum returns as compared to the investment through direct route to the mutual funds or even the Sensex. How it is done, the asset banking, what they do, what I've seen whenever I interacted with them, what they do is they do a technical research of the market outlook, use certain strategies and dynamic allocation of the portfolio and generate maximum returns. This is long and short what alpha strategy. As far as asset banking is concerned, I am 100% sure, because I have seen them actually using whenever my interactions with them, and I have been seeing my portfolio also on a very regular basis. So that is alpha strategy. In fact, it's a very good thing or strategy which they use.
So there are a lot of companies that are catering to armed forces officers, like from Army, Navy, Air Force, and they're only catering to them. So is there a particular reason that you've gone with assets banking? Like, what is it that they are doing differently?
Okay, it's actually very simple. There are a lot of plethora of, in fact, financial management companies, wealth management companies which have come out, which have been started by a lot of defense fraternity itself, which is very good thing. Why asset banking in particular I have gone to? What does one look for as a client when your own corpus, hard-earned corpus, is affected? So first and foremost is the trust factor. As far as asset banking is concerned, they have got a lot of senior army defense officers in their management. In fact, one can relate to most of them because one has known them in the service at some point of time. So that trust factor is there in the asset banking. Second major factor is technical. Technical in the sense you need to have expertise to manage the funds. So asset banking has got a lot of very highly skilled professionals who have got expertise in the field, various instruments which are there with the asset banking. So and in fact one gets to interact with them. I've interacted with a couple of them, and there one is free as a client to interact with them. So that is, in fact, that is an added plus point, I will say. So the technical part. Third, which is very important, is experience. There may be trust factor, like a lot of these other wealth management companies which have come up. The trust factor is certainly there. I mean, they are also managed by defense officers. Technical expertise people may have acquired over a period of time, or they have just learned now on the job also. Most important is experience. Asset banking has got a wealth of experience in managing wealth, especially of defense clientele. Whereas that experience may be slightly missing on the other side. This is my personal opinion. I was having my corpus deployed in 2 different platforms, which I was managing on my own. Slowly, when I developed trust and confidence in the asset banking, I actually switched over from these 2 platforms which I was managing on my own to asset banking. So slowly the wealth has actually shifted from here, the weight has shifted to the asset banking. So this has not happened overnight. It has happened because as I developed the trust, confidence, and when I interacted with their experts, one has shifted to asset banking.
So now that there are so many products of investment, so is it difficult to track all your investments? And the other question that I wanted was do you feel your money is safe with an asset management company like assets banking?
Okay, so first of all, the first part of the question, tracking. So these days it's not very difficult because especially the wealth management companies, asset banking, they have got their own software where you can log in. There's a complete portfolio is available on your dashboard. You can see it in various forms. If I want to see it as a summary, as a profit loss statement, so there are various options available, and I can view my complete portfolio in whatever instrument it would have been deployed. I can see my complete portfolio. As far as, so these are, it's a very good software in fact, and its login ID is given, password is given, so I can do it at any time whenever I want. Apart from this, the asset banking has been sending me, periodically they send me the portfolio with all the assessment and all that, and thereafter they have been contacting me. So it's a part of tracking only. In the asset banking relationship manager or at the senior level also, they contact your portfolio has whatever changes they want to make based on the market conditions and so many other things. So that is as far as the tracking is concerned. As far as safety is concerned, now there are 2-3 things about the safety part. First of all, when we say whether the money is safe, so the money is not in the account of asset banking.
Okay.
The money is with the mutual fund house.
Right.
So it is just that the investment has been made on the advice of asset banking through their software, but the money, till such time it is not invested, it is in my bank account, which is linked to this. So the money is in my bank account, and when it is invested, it is with the mutual fund house, and I get the units in lieu of that. So the money to that extent is safe because it is either with me or with the mutual fund house. It is not with the asset banking.
Okay.
And second part is compliances. So they are SEBI compliant, they are BSE compliant, they are NSE compliant, they have their licenses, etc. In this asset banking case, I have seen always it is the BSE, Bombay Stock Exchange. I get an email from the BSE, and then they ask me to give my password, OTP, and all those security things, and then my money is invested into that mutual fund house. So it is not that someone from asset banking decides on his own. Even despite my approval, the approval actually is generated through the Bombay Stock Exchange. So that is another safety, layer, so to say. The money is safe.
So do you do your own research when it comes to investing, or does asset banking provide you with advisory services like what to do, what not to do?
So to say that I do my own research, some sort of amateurish research one does always.
Right.
Though it's your own money, you need to know. As far as asset banking is concerned, they have got a lot of these specialists, whether they are chartered financial planners, chartered accountants, research analysts, or financial advisors. So they have all these, and who keep on doing the market research, seeing the market outlook, etc. Then they have, and they make various investment models and etc. In fact, that helps in generating their alpha returns also. So I go with their research rather than doing my own research.
So right now, social media is playing a huge factor, and these WhatsApp groups everybody is using. So do you get influenced by the financial advice or tips being given in these WhatsApp groups, as well as reels and shorts?
So it is social media, WhatsApp groups. It's not only these, even TV channels for that matter. And before these WhatsApp and all they came into being, much earlier I'm talking about, SMSs also used to come on various
Right.
So I will say that all these, they are not necessarily originated through financial experts, or they are all self-styled gurus, many of them. I'm not saying all of them. So instead of going and listening to advices for which they are not responsible also. So someone gives a tip, buy so and so share or so and so mutual fund, and you buy it. They are not responsible at the end of it.
Of course.
Absolutely. So on the other hand, if I go through a proper financial management company or a wealth management company like asset banking, there, as we mentioned earlier, their experts are there for each instrument. There the advice is a considered advice, and at the end of the day, their brick and mortar office, their proper offices, I can always go and catch hold of someone. On the other hand, these investments which float around in various WhatsApp groups, there is no,
Right.
We don't know who is the originator, we don't even know who is who. And most of this advice would be with the with some loaded concern. And gullible investors, I have seen some of good friends, some officers having lost good money to these investment ideas or tips. So I would recommend to everyone that it is better to go by a proper authorized investment or the financial management companies rather than falling prey to these tips, whether they are on WhatsApp group or on TV channels.
Right, sir. So there are a lot of young officers and serving officers who are tech savvy. So they basically go online and do their own investing in direct mutual funds or stocks. So what do you think about this trend?
So first of all, while in service, while I was also in service, I was aware of certain officers doing online trading, online investing also in mutual funds or other shares. So what my take on the entire thing is that, first of all these investments, trading, all this requires time of its own. While in service, I really don't find anyone would have so much of time to do all this investment and all, because 24/7 one is committed on some duty or the other. So time is a one factor which I feel is a constraining factor to a serving person. Even in fact, while serving, even as a retired, if someone is doing something as a second innings, there also one is constrained for time for all these. You said you require time for this, which is lacking for a serving officer. Second is knowledge. Now, a lot of an officer, when he joins the armed forces, he is around 19, 20 or what, around maybe plus minus. That is the time when I don't think he has got that financial knowledge.
Right.
And while in service, till he retires, I don't think there is any service course or training which gives you knowledge on shares, mutual funds, investments, etc. Whatever financial training is there is, again, as we said earlier, is for the armed forces
Army.
funds and all that,
Right.
for how to manage those funds, grants, etc., which is a different ballgame altogether. So when does one acquire knowledge? On one's own. So on one's own knowledge, so either these days, of course, with googling, one can find out which are the top mutual funds, top shares and blue chips, etc., or our good friend WhatsApp University or the TV channels.
Right.
But this knowledge is dangerous, half knowledge, which is dangerous. So second is lack of knowledge. So if these two things are not there, and then investment online, yeah, you can be tech savvy, you can invest, there is no issue. I mean, but time and knowledge. And if you go further, I have seen people investing in serving options also, and otherwise investing in futures and options, playing around in futures and options, in margin trading, day trading of shares. Now all this again, I said, when do you do it? The stock exchanges are open only on working days, and doing trading on this, that means either it is a cost of your job possibly, and I don't think any organization will allow you that bandwidth. So it is in a haphazard manner, that means one does. And I have actually seen, especially during that subprime crisis 2008 or around that time,
Right.
when lot of people lost a lot of money also. Everyone who goes into trading or day trading or share trading or margin or future option, everywhere we have heard about success stories. I made so much money, I made that much money. Why has anyone said I've lost that much money? No one says that.
Right.
So we get carried, some others get carried away by that. So my recommendation again, in case someone is watching, is that it is better left professionals all this, and not to indulge into this sort of a trading. It's a very hard-earned money. It is hard-earned money. Let us not squander it. Simple.
So there's a popular saying that the rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer. So what do you think is the reason behind this?
This is a very philosophical statement. I think I'll stick to the context of investment, because it's a very big question otherwise. The rich are getting richer as far as investment is concerned, because what I feel is that they, most of the people who are, I will not say rich as such, sensible people, so they are using professional services, whether to invest money, they are using a professional advisor, they are using wealth management companies to deploy the money, etc. On the other hand, possibly people who are not gaining much money, so-called poor, they, in order to save some money, you have to pay fees to the CA, pay fees to various people. So they rather try to do self-help. Self-help is good, yet at the same time, when it comes to investment, it is better to use professional advice. I'll just give you an example, related example. Since I was commissioned into artillery, I will talk about a gun. So when a young officer joins the unit, reports to the unit, he undergoes through the various number 6 of the gun for a gun detachment, number 6, number 5, number 4, number 3 and number 2, and finally the gun detachment commander. He passes all those tests.
So these are positions on the gun?
On the gun.
Okay.
And then his main job is as a gun position officer. When he's commissioned, he does his job as a gun position officer. Now when there is a firing which has to gun has to be fired, he may know all these jobs, he has passed those tests, but when it comes to actual firing, he is best left doing his own job as the gun position officer and leave the pulling of the trigger or loading to the number 3 and the number 4 of the detachment.
Right.
So similarly here, the rich people, or even poor, in our case inverted comma poor, they may do self-help. I mean, it is always good to do your own research. One should know everything. Certainly I am not against that. Do your research, because then only you will be knowledgeable. But when it comes to actual deploying of your money, it is best left to the professionals. And possibly that is when you made the statement, rich getting richer and poor. I think this is the major difference. Enlisting help of a professional, that is, I think, the major difference. Something like for a medical requirement, you will go to a doctor. You will not go, try to self-medicate. We do self-medicate in India especially, but that's fine for small things. But for a medical, you'll always go to a doctor. For legal advice, you'll always go to a lawyer. For financial, you'll always go to a chartered accountant.
Of course.
So I think that is the best to follow this model.
So, and finally, I would like to ask you if there's one piece of advice that you could give to serving officers and retired officers. So, what would that be?
Okay, I will keep it to the wealth perspective, and I would also cover in form of a journey from serving to the retired. As a young officer, initially you don't have money. I mean, the money is now started coming in as a salary. So initial focus should be on accumulation of money, so saving. And here I would say that rule which the financial experts always keep saying, 30-70. So first, since you have the money now coming in and there is no wealth accumulation as of now, save 30%. First, save 30% of your salary, income, spend balance of the 70% on whatever your needs are. As you grow up in service, the wealth has accumulated. Here again I will put a factor that saving alone is not going to, it will accumulate wealth, but it is not going to make sure your wealth grows. In fact, it may be difficult to beat the inflation. So your wealth will actually come down.
Right.
So now is the time when you have grown in service sufficiently. Now is the time when you need to think about investment. This is the time, invest, save, invest, and spend also on your goals. Invest, enlist a professional, because as it is, as we mentioned earlier during our discussion, that hardly a serving officer does not have time, neither the inclination. So don't try to do self-help. Best to service a professional that time itself. Then as you grow up to the retirement age, some goals would have been met while you are in the journey. Some goals would be still left, so plan for that goal. And now is the time when you are retired, you have got a huge retirement corpus. Now this is the time when you have to think not only about investment you must, there is no doubt, but now is the time when you have to think about taxation, which is going to eat your money in a very big manner, because your wealth would have also grown.
Right.
Wherever you invest, there is a tax.
Right.
Whether it is in FD, 30% tax straight away. So this is the time when you again enlist a professional who will not only advise you on investment avenues, investment instruments, or where to invest, deploy, but he will also take care of your taxation issues and ensure that you get more into your hands rather than otherwise. And at the end of the day, like I mentioned earlier also, it's a hard-earned money. So if it's your hard-earned money, don't let it be squandered away by non-professional advice or non-professional means. It is best to enlist professionals, and especially when you are in retirement, I would say you have worked very hard-earned money, you have worked very hard.
Right.
I mean, mostly people would have served more than 30-40 years. So after all this hard work and giving your prime to the defense of the country, I think this is the time now you should sit back, enjoy your wealth which you have accumulated. Your family, you are with your family, they need you, enjoy with them. Give the job of managing your wealth to the wealth management companies, whether it is asset banking or any other. That is, choice is yours, wherever one is comfortable, and one where one should go with. So let them do their job, let them do your work, and you should now enjoy your wealth. Enjoy. And for those who play golf, enjoy golf daily.
Well, thank you, sir. It was a pleasure talking to you, and definitely have learned a few things. And sir, your time, I know you're busy, it's valuable, and we really appreciate. Our viewers will definitely appreciate this video, in which a lot of questions that the defense community may have been answered. So thank you for that, sir.
In fact, thanks a lot for having me over in this session. And not only I enjoyed the discussion, frankly, I also learned from your questions, and I'm hopefully that also will stand me in good stead in my investment journey also. Thank you so much.
We wish you all the best, and thank you.
Thank you.